All right. Hey, everyone. This is Lauren Jane coming to you from Art Biz Secrets. I'm just going to double check that we are live in the group here. And I see we are here today with Robin Maria Pedrero. Hi, Robin.
Hi,
How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Great. I'm just going to do a quick introduction of you. I have my notes here. All right. So Robin Maria Pedrero paints the spirit and energy of life in rhythmic layers of color. Robin is an award-winning artist with work in museum permanent collections, film, limited edition wine labels worldwide in over 10 countries. That's an awesome achievement.
Oh, thank you.
I didn't even know about the wine labels. That's an interesting and unusual thing.
Oh, yeah. I'm not drinking this wine, but it's right here. I'm not, but it's already been consumed.
Oh,
But
that's
this is
beautiful.
the wine label. It was a competition, actually, on social media, and so that's it.
That's so cool. And you're collected in over 10 countries. Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting to me. I actually have maps that I keep, even for the United States, that I have almost collectors. Rhode Island, where are you?
Let's see. Let's see. We don't have anyone on with us yet, but as you come on, just go ahead and say hi. And thank you so much for being here today. You're coming to us from Texas, is that right?
Yes, I'm in Frisco, Texas.
Okay,
It's
awesome.
north of Dallas.
And I met Robin actually here in Orlando, Florida. I remember I met you several years ago now at the Maitland Art Center. That was back when I was doing the museum gift shop and I had all the local artists in it, and you had your art in there. I just remember like you had these amazing scarves, and you had your prints and the purses and the phone covers that all had your art on it, and it was one of the first times I'd actually seen a fine artist putting their work on items like that. I thought that was so cool. That was part of the reason I wanted to bring on today, because that's a great way to show your art.
Yes, you know what the funny thing is? Back when I met you then, I thought, this girl is just so amazing. And I didn't really know. I also felt, very honored to be able to be in the Maitland gift shop. So that was really great for me back then. And I gained a lot of collectors, and I was able to place my art in the big event that they have, and, lots of things like that. But it always you were always in the back of my mind, and I would always think to myself, what's stopping her? What's stopping her? So I got to tell you now, I watch you blossom and do all the things that you're doing. I'm super proud of you.
Oh, well, thank you very much. It's nice that you've seen me go through all my different transitions. Back then I was more like I was handling the museum gift shop, but I was also handling all the events and the rentals for the art center for like weddings and things.
Yeah.
So that was a very different time period in my life of not making the art and being an artist. And you saw me back then.
Yeah, and just like you, one of the questions that you had sent me was about that pivotal point for me. And so much like you, I was in charge at several different venues, like in Ocala. I was in charge of exhibitions and coordinating exhibits, curating, and doing things like that. And then again, Seminole County, Florida, I was the arts administrator, and I was at the Art House, and I was also on the national board for the Women's Caucus for Art, and so I'd go to meetings in New York and Chicago and do shows for the WCA, and I took on lots of roles like that. And it was actually my husband who said to me, if you would just do for yourself, for all nations, you'd be very successful. I never thought about that. Yeah. I never thought about investing in myself like that. It just occurred to me.
Right. No, and that was a huge thing. You said that to me. I remember in my art studio when I was starting to actually be an artist again. and it was right before you were moving to Texas. And I remember that was very impactful, that you said if you just did for yourself what you're doing for these other companies, I mean, how far could you get for your own dreams? Like that's big.
And look, it is big now compared to what we were doing before. We helped a lot of people. We still continue to mentor and help people. That's my little Mac Studio dog making this sound. He's being asked.
What kind of dog is it?
He's a Shih Tzu. Come here, Studio dog. So everybody can see you. There he is.
We have Tracy Desrochers. I don't know if that's how you say your last name, but Tracy is on with us.
Oh, good.
That is a cute dog.
Okay, you made your appearance. Now back down.
Let's see. Oh, we have Lisa is on as well. I'm not as familiar with you guys, so go ahead and feel free to say hi and comment, ask questions. We're just getting started on the interview here, but thank you for being here with us. Robin, actually, tell us a little bit about your art. Like, what does your art look like? What kind of medium you're working in, for those that don't know?
I have a history of a wide variety of art, and I don't know how much you're aware of this. I originally started out doing lots of portraits in pastel.
Okay. No, I wasn't.
You see? I did that for many years when I lived in Ocala. And I think one of the things about myself that I've learned is that helps me as an artist is being flexible. And when I figure out a need or something like that, I find a way to make things work. And so I did portraits for quite some time, and then I sort of transitioned into doing landscapes. And I did a lot of pastel landscapes, and I still love to do those. Getting more work in galleries and having to ship and everything, I felt like I had a lot of money invested in framing, and then it would get damaged. So I thought, I've got to fix this problem in my business. Much money in framing and matting and glass. Yeah. And then I shared a studio with Diana Ferguson, and she was working on acrylics, and she inspired me to work with acrylics. And so that started the next part of my art making in acrylics. Okay. I just kind of work very emotively with color, and so I start with that. Sometimes I see a complete vision for the painting. Sometimes I dream it. Sometimes I daydream it. Sometimes we're on car rides and I see the entire painting from start to finish in my mind into the studio and do it. And I just work layer upon layer, and I play music, and I'll work in series of build up a body of work. But they're pretty much so all focused on nature. Some are close-up little aspects of nature. Some are quirky. Some are very meditative.
Okay. Yeah, the ones I've seen are all very colorful, either like floral or some sort of a organic aspect, and then maybe like birds or... but I remember you showing me in some of your work there was actually like little hidden aspects that I didn't see. You could point out like there was always more to it than just what you first saw.
And that's the quirkiness. That's the quirkiness I was talking about. Because sometimes I see things and I paint the piece and I'm like, oh, that looks like a bird over the eyeball on there. Or, I see things or I think about other stories. Off to be one thing, and then it kind of evolves into something else, and then I add other things to it. And that's something I do for my collectors, especially if I'm doing a commission or if they purchase a piece that I've painted. I don't mind sometimes putting a little element in there that's just for them.
Oh, that's nice. Okay.
It helps artists. I think we're talking to mostly artists right now. Yep. So you can do that really make a difference in how
So what's an example of something you would do? Like if you had a couple come to you and they want a certain painting, what what would be their
Sometimes they tell me complete love stories. I
oh,
things, and you know, aged with by these ducks, and so there was a little duck in there,
oh,
a certain particular flower or something that meant something to them, or a certain item, and so I kind of work them into the pieces.
awesome. That's great. I love that. That's a special personal touch.
It's fun too. It's a lot of fun.
Definitely. And so we're talking about how you were doing all these things for everyone else, for all these other companies and things, and then you made the transition to focusing on your own art. How did that transition go for you?
I've done that more than once.
What did that look like? Was it hard? Was it just
Each
saying
time
no to a lot of things or?
I still have to do that because my time in my studio is sacred time. And I think I've learned and I know and I believe that the work that I'm doing is important and it makes a difference in people's lives just by making them happy. Okay.
Yeah.
um, each time that I've done this type of thing where I went from being fully employed, I was the entire time. And so one time I did it when I was doing portraits, but I worked at a hair salon. And so a lot of those people that came in were my clients. And so I did that for quite some time. I got remarried and moved to Orlando. Then I started doing the landscapes. And I had some different jobs and different things like that. And I'm sharing all this because all of us as artists, and I think it's important that I just didn't all of a sudden say one day, okay, bam, I've done it a couple of times. And each time it's always a little bit different. And each time I'm a little braver. And I know lots more tricks to the trade. So each time I feel like I've gotten better at it. Okay.
Did you feel ready to make the transition or did you just kind of do it anyways?
I did it. It was a little bit of both. I did it anyway, and it was at breakfast, as a matter of fact, after I'd given an award to Dario of the Contemporary Dance Center, and we were all talking about it, and I made the decision with them at the table, going for it, and so I did, and I am the type of person I get up very early. I start working and I work a lot because I love it. I'm very passionate about what I do. And I'm not just talking about working a lot on 50-50 thing. You have to market your art and you have to do all of these other things. So as far as transition, I'd already been working in my art business. I already started to build ways of bringing in income, not just through original art, but through print on demand. And when you have print on demand happening, then you have income coming in however they pay. It could be monthly, it could be instantly, it could be quarterly. And so that made a difference for me because I get paid all the time now through print on demand and through galleries.
Now, is print on demand, do you mean like Fine Art America, or is that an actual specific website for print on demand?
All of them. All of the
You're
different...
on all of them, okay.
No, I'm not on all. In fact, I just sent out a newsletter today clarifying some of the ones that I'm using. And I try out a lot of different ones, but I think I'll start back with what happened in 2008. I was on Twitter. And that's when things really started to take off for me. My art business tripled by being on Twitter.
Really?
Okay.
I'm so, I hate Twitter, but I know that I should probably just do it.
But the thing is, like all things, they change. Okay? So in 2008, it was a very powerful venue, and a woman found me, and her company was So What, and she kept bugging me. She was like, Let me put your art. Let me do this. And so finally I was just like, fine. She said, just send me an image. And I sent her an image, and she's the one that started making these things for me. These are the things that I used to have at the Maitland Arts Center. They use and they are, you know, my art on all of these little bags and things, and she'd make bigger ones. And so it was her bugging me, okay? And it turned out really great, and it worked out, you know, really well to do these. The only downside is you have to order. And, you know, she could do things on demand for me, but you have to order, and then you have pieces
inventory
not sell. Right.
Yeah.
So that was one of them. And then someone else, one of my collectors, me to make them a shower curtain out of an image. So then I just started doing research, and that's something for artists to take note of. You need to research. You need to research and read everything that you can and find. And I think my mom taught me, of course, in school, but a job that I had, and my nickname, you could call me Omar. I actually used to make the light dome. You know, the tents that artists use.
Yeah. Okay.
I used to be the person that would sit at a machine and heat seal them, and I also would sell them.
Wow.
Yeah. So going down the list of jobs that Robin has had as day jobs.
The multiple hats, right?
But she taught me how to research.
Wow, that's really neat. I have a question here from Janae. She says, does she still make those bags? I may ask for her info. So
yes. Yep, she moved from Mississippi to Pensacola, Florida, and it's So What, and they are awesome. And for all the fairs you do, Janae, these would be fantastic. They're really great. It's sustainable recycling because it is newspaper. They last forever. They're fantastic. I absolutely love these.
And that you went through a specific person to have those printed?
Yes. Okay. Yes, I'll give you her name.
Okay, well, we can post that later in the comments. So,
yeah,
great. So you were making the tents, the art tents, and then what happened?
Well, I was just sharing that owner of that business taught me to research.
Okay.
And that was one of the things I started doing. She taught me to research fabrics and companies and everything, and to get samples, things I had never really thought about. So that's what I started doing. I started getting samples and doing the research. And so I finally made the shower curtain for the person that wanted it, and I made a couple others, and then people just started buying them. I was like, wow, this is cool. And when I was a fashion designer, but I really don't like to sew.
Okay.
So this was a really cool thing for me to be able to have, was for my art to be printed on things. And
you're making the design, but you don't have to do the sewing.
Yeah, I thought fabric would be great. Mm-hmm. Changed my mind on that because I didn't know how people were going to use the fabric. And so I thought to myself, okay, I want to retain some of what, the same thing like with wrapping paper. I did a little bit of wrapping paper. I thought, people can cut this up and remake my art into things. So I thought, no, I did some elements for those things, my art, but design elements. Does that make sense? Yeah. So that's where I was kind of drawing lines for myself. And then I met someone who did silk scarves in Orlando, and she made some beautiful silk scarves. This is probably one of my first ones. Oh. It's gorgeous. I absolutely love it. And you start figuring out how to make art to work with these designs. We'll go back to one of my other jobs. I worked doing, and they all go into what it is that I do. I did repeats and negatives for wallpaper, and so I worked in a dark room, and you'd have to do repeats for wallpaper, and I also did hand design like that. And so in it, you have to learn how to do the repeats. Then it was done by hand when I did it, and now you can easily do it in Photoshop. But those are different things that you have to figure out when you're making your products like this.
So how to make a design that'll work on fabric
Mm-hmm.
That's really interesting. I can see where wallpaper could have something that you could draw from to do like a scarf with. That's really interesting, taking your knowledge from that experience and then applying it to what you're doing now.
I think we all do that with different things, and maybe we just don't realize it.
Yeah.
But I specifically knew it because you have to learn how to make it either repeat or flip.
So are you doing that now on Photoshop? Like, are you creating a painting and then putting it on Photoshop and repeating it and then having it printed?
Sometimes. But right now, there's some incredible companies out there. And, I have Vita right in front of me. I'm going to grab this. This is what it looks like when you get your Vita bag. Okay. They come very nicely. This is what it will look like when your customers get your Vita bags. And inside of them are your purses.
Okay. So Vita is the company that you're working with to make these?
It's one of them.
One of them. Okay.
One of them. They all do different things. This is the same bag without the handles on it. Nice. It's really cute. You can see that it's that painting.
Ah, okay. That's a great example. So you have the painting in the back that you hand painted with acrylics. Is that right?
I hand painted it with acrylics, and then you photograph it or scan it, and you go ahead and pull that into Photoshop for whatever dimensions the print-on-demand company wants or requires for whatever you're doing. Here, I'll get up and I'll show you the big item from here. I'm actually going to put it on because it works better that way.
I see we have Jack Void is on here watching now. We have a few other
Jack.
people.
This is one of the wraps, and these is luxurious. It's quite beautiful.
Very nice.
But you can see, look, it's that painting.
Yeah, that's great. All right.
So there's so many things. The same design that was on that purse. This is, one of those tops. But I want to show you a mistake.
Okay.
This looks like nothing.
Okay. It looks like a camouflage pattern.
Yeah. So this is a mistake. This is me trying to print something on one of these tops that didn't turn out. So it's actually a good idea to order some things from yourself. The Vita is pretty neat too because they put your name on the label. Uh-huh. And it actually says your name on it. Fine Art America, Redbubble. Oh, cool thing from Redbubble. These are really cool, and these would be great for somebody that's doing fairs. Look at them.
Ooh.
Aren't they awesome?
Wow, those are cool.
These are brand new.
That's probably plexiglass?
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't that nifty? Acrylic glass. Somebody just bought 2 of them last night. I was like, whoa, these are so sweet.
Jack Boyd says, that is lovely. Any tutus, LOL. I know he likes to wear tutus from time to time. So how do you decide what you're going to print it on? You're like, oh, that's a cool purse, I want to try it on that, or?
Yes.
Okay.
And some companies, there's Zazzle, Redbubble, Cafe Press, it does tiles. I don't have another place that does tiles, and I have some collectors who really love the tiles.
Okay, is that like tiles you'd use as like a backsplash in your kitchen, or like what would you?
You could, and they're also framed. They have that, or you could use them as coasters or things like that. Okay. Of course, I used to do a lot of prints for shows, and I really don't do a lot of outdoor shows very much. Most of my prints go offer framing on print-on-demand sites as well.
We have a little bit of a long question here. Lisa is asking, says, 95% of my pieces are created for someone specific, usually a surprise gift. Large art pieces on reclaimed wood. Any suggestions on best areas or ways to promote my business?
One of a kind art.
So it's
Is it?
so
It's
it's
all
one of
one
a kind art for specific people, and it's large art pieces on reclaimed wood. I mean, I would say like on Facebook and then Instagram. Now, you were saying you used to use Twitter. Are you still saying that's no longer as helpful?
Twitter. I have 36,000 followers there, so it still does something for me. If you don't have a whole lot of followers there, I'm not sure. I still enjoy it, not as much as I used to enjoy it because there was a lot more conversation going on there before. But I have a lot of friends that only go there and some collectors that are there. And a lot of my international sales started there. I work in a gallery in the UK because of that. And different opportunities arise. Somebody said, oh, somebody's looking for a cat at this museum. So there's positives about it, but the day-to-day sales that I used to make there, I don't make.
Okay. What do you prefer out of all the social media platforms? Which one do you think is best?
I like to hang out on Instagram because I can just scroll and be delighted all day long by everybody's art and nature scenes and travel and everything else.
Do you think it is the best place for selling your art? Or where do you think is best for actually marketing your art to people?
I'm going to be honest with you. I have a friend, Paulette, and she just took off on Instagram. And my moving, I moved twice in 1 year, really slow. I feel like I need to catch up. So I am not on my game on Instagram. I know that I'm watching other people, and so they'll put things, what's the thing at the top, the pop-up circle,
stories on Facebook.
Stories, there you go. Thank you for the right word. So people are putting things in the stories and then saying, learn more, or whatever. Mm-hmm. Those people are doing it right, and so I'm probably going to go that route and use that to because that's how you're getting people to your website. That's gold right there, is getting people to leave Instagram unless you're selling it directly on there, to go to your website and make purchases.
Is your website where you're making most of your sales, or are you doing it through like private messaging on Facebook, private messaging on Instagram?
Private messaging is probably the most ways that I'm making sales, and my newsletter. Yeah. I sent out the newsletter this morning, and I would say within 6 minutes I sold a piece.
Wow. Okay. So what are you doing with these newsletters? You're showing a little bit about your art and telling a little bit about what you're doing, or how do you use newsletters to market your stuff?
I just try to do different things. I tell them that I show them art first. And sometimes I fail to do that. I get excited. And so I kept this piece and didn't show it at all. And it was really hard to do because I just want to post it on Facebook and post on Instagram. And so I kept it aside until I sent my newsletter, and that's the piece that sold.
Okay. And so in your newsletter, you talk about the piece and maybe like why you created it, or?
No, I didn't really need to do that. Because I have different themes. Okay. And so for a long time I did a lot of crows. Okay. And it took me like 2 years to finally get settled in my studio that I'm in now. And so all of those things kind of got pushed aside. And so I finally did my first crow of 2018, and it's the first one I've done in a while. Mm-hmm. And so it didn't really need a whole lot of explanation other than that.
Okay, so is it mostly just an image that you put out on the newsletter? I mean, is there any writing?
Oh, yes, I write.
Like, what do you write? I'm just trying to get an idea of like what you're putting as far as content. Like, what is it that's making them, click, and if they want to look at it or read, or
Images and content, words, links. I do use MailChimp. An assistant one time who convinced me that it was really great, and she was right. It's great. I really like MailChimp a lot. I like it. I used Constant Contact once or twice, a few times, and I like MailChimp better.
Okay. All right. Great. Let me see if there's any other questions here. They're just saying nice and very impressive. Let's see. Do you like Instagram? Now, out of the print on demand services, which one do you like the best, or is that hard to say?
It's product based.
Okay.
Nobody else that I saw, maybe Zazzle offers these acrylic blocks, but I got those on Redbubble. Nobody else offers the wrap except for Vita. And they all have different price points and different things that you do. Fine Art America probably has my most amount of images, and it's probably my go-to place for just reproductions and pillows and everything like that. But the pillows and bags at Vita are really great. Zazzle does my calendars. I used to do my silk scarf stock, and that's another thing that goes back to the flexibility and learning how to, like, remember when Facebook was super powerful
Yeah.
for all of us, and we could just post stuff and people were interacting and we'd sell stuff all the time, and that rug was pulled out from under us. So you have to kind of pay attention to what's happening and pay attention to some, is it Mari Smith and some of the other people that know what's going on. Then they promoted like all video, and that just wasn't working for me.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of people doing videos now, and it's almost like it's too much in a way, and then people aren't really thinking through how their video is coming across. Like, does it have good lighting? Is there a good background? Which, my background right now, it's not the best. I want to get a better one.
I like your art there.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a new piece I'm working on. It's just the sketch part so far, but it's going to be drinking martinis.
You're so, they're so personal. They're all in this personal space. I like that.
Yeah, so this one, it's going to be, it's, I don't know if you can even tell, but it's supposed to be my leg and then my boyfriend's leg. We're both holding martinis. And then there's going to be, in the background, it'll look like we're in Italy on the Amalfi Coast. Ooh. So it's a combination, like, collaborative piece where he decided what the background will be. And then I already had the vision for the foreground of the martinis.
It's beautiful.
So yeah, and he helped pick out the photo and then on Photoshop put the two together. So I'm excited about it. It's a big one, so it's going to take a little while, but yeah. So let's see. Let me just look at what my other questions were. Try to stay on track. It's really helpful to hear, though, your thoughts on the different social media platforms.
Oh, I know where I was going before. I didn't really finish my thought.
Okay.
So I think the most important thing is to pay attention to the changes that are happening and be flexible enough to make the moves that you need to make. So when I saw everything wasn't working on Facebook, I started my own group.
Okay.
And the groups have been fantastic for me because everybody was seeing it. And then I think you saw my post just like 2 weeks ago. Yeah. They're changing,
limiting the groups now. You have to go in and actively select you want to see the posts.
Exactly. So, all of those different things, you just got to be aware and pay attention, and don't just, and that's the other part about, for me, print on demand. From several different places, not just one. Right. So I do commissions, I have originals, I sell my own art, I have my work in galleries, I have my work on other continents in galleries, I have print on demand that prints in other countries so that they don't have to get it shipped from the United States. It actually is printed in other countries too. So all of those different things help your business if you are a working artist and, your paintings aren't selling for millions yet.
Right.
Okay.
You have multiple streams of revenue, multiple places. That's great advice, I think, right there. That's awesome. Um, so do you feel like that is what has helped you to be a successful artist? Like just
Mul-
having the multiple streams of revenue? Or what else would you say you've done that has helped
Well,
you be successful?
I guess if in terms of making an income is success, yes, that does help me.
Okay.
In terms of being a successful artist in the terms of the creating of art, um, I think that, and I know that there was a study on this, but I don't remember who, sorry. They took a bunch of artists and told them to make a masterpiece. And they took another group of artists and they told them to create as much art as they could. The artists, much art as they could, are the ones that made the masterpieces. The artists that had to focus on one masterpiece only, it didn't happen for them.
Yeah. Like so much pressure and not practicing enough and just putting it out there. Is that
I make a lot of art. I'm quite prolific. I make a whole lot of art. Okay. And it doesn't mean.
How many pieces would you say you make a week?
Oh, right now, not as much as I used to. I'm not where I used to be since I moved. I'm still overcoming green light from my windows, and I have other lights in here, and still
well, before you move, like when you say you make a lot of art, what does that mean to you?
Well, let's see.
You know, I mean, I feel like some people think making a piece a month is making a lot. Some people say they make 6 pieces.
No.
Like everybody has their own idea of what making a lot of art is, I think.
And what I'm having to do right now is I'm going back and reflecting on what I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces there. And so I work on series, and that's another part of making art. Collectors and for your print-on-demand companies is when you work in a series. So you have to have at least 4 that have similar colors or similar themes or something like that go together. Mm-hmm. But let's say you work on 4 and one of them is not good. Mm-hmm. So you make more than 4, okay? You put out enough to where you have some successes and maybe some that aren't so successful, and you rework those into something else.
Okay, so you're making like 8 paintings in a week or 2. Quite a bit. That's a lot. Now, are you working smaller to be able to create so much, or
those will be smaller? But I can work larger ones too. I work on many paintings at the same time.
Okay.
So I'll work on several large pieces and then other small pieces, and it's kind of this happy working medium for me to go back and forth between the different pieces.
Okay, so maybe the background on one and then more of a foreground on another one day or something. Is that kind of how?
I don't need to about that. Okay. I just work. I don't.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think, today's just this background. I just work. If it gets too wet, then I put it aside and go to the next one.
Right.
If if I'm not sure, I put it aside and go on to the next one. And it kind of helps me too if I'm not real sure, because then I've gone on to something else when I've wanted to keep working and given it a break, and then I'm ready to look at it with fresh eyes.
Yeah. I think that's what I've been trying to do as well, is trying to almost like batch things out. Like I'll do a little bit on this one, and like I'll try to say, okay, I just need to do this one part to this particular piece, and then move on to another, and not always have to just focus on one at a time. I think that helps working on multiple pieces, like you're saying.
It does. Your colors start to flow.
Mm-hmm.
You get a real cohesive body of work going.
Yeah. What advice would you give to an artist who is doing something similar, and they're starting out on their path, and they want to kind of follow in your footsteps and do paintings and print on demand and?
Well, just like I said, create a lot.
Yeah.
Don't be focused on creating just a masterpiece. Be fearless about it. Mm-hmm. you know, it's just art. It's just paper or canvas, or, you know, don't be so afraid, and use quality materials.
Quality.
I see a lot of artists posting, and I see the materials, and I'm not talking about people who are using refurbished and found things. That's a totally different aspect of making art.
So are you thinking like high quality canvases, or what
good
kind
quality paint, you know, good paint.
Yeah.
People see when you're posting, if you're posting works in progress, pictures. I don't know. I just think your collectors value you. They value the work that you do. You should give them something that is a piece of quality that has integrity.
That's a good point. Yeah. Does anybody on here have any questions for Robin? You're a wealth of knowledge. So you got into galleries in other countries. How did you go about doing that? Did they approach you? Did you approach them?
They approach me. A lot of times that's something that happens. I just kind of call it manifest or whatever. Sometimes I just really think about things, but I try to make a lot of connections and connecting with a lot of people in different places. And sometimes it pans out to something that's works for everybody and is lucrative. Sometimes people just find me because of somebody else or because of all of my social media postings. Sometimes friends just do favors, and that's really nice.
How do you vet the gallery to make sure that it's like a legit place and a good situation? Like, are you just kind of researching their website, or, you know, because if you can't go to it and it's another country and you want to make sure that it's all kosher.
By the other artists that are there.
Okay. So do you message them and ask them their experience?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Even in the United States, absolutely. In fact, I'm in a gallery in South Carolina, and another artist said, you know, is this gallery cool? Should I be there? You're there. I said, absolutely. It's fantastic, and told her all the reasons why. And I think that's a really important aspect as us collectively as artists, you know, very kind and helpful, and some artists are a little more closed and guarded. Mm-hmm. And I like to surround myself with people like yourself. I have some working groups, you know, that I work with each other, and we build each other up and help each other with, you know, parts of doing art and art business.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of value in having community, reaching out to your fellow artist. And I had someone, you know, private message me the other day that had some questions about a local curator, and I had my own knowledge, experiences that I could share. And it's, if we can help each other out, like, there's just so much that we can learn from each other, so we don't all have to be, you know, learning all the mistakes our own, you know, like... It doesn't always have to be quite so hard if we're helping each other out.
I agree. And you know, I think a lot of the opportunities that I have, if they aren't someone reaching out to me, it's because I was fearless and just said, give me a show.
Yeah.
And before I walked in with give me a show, I knew that they either knew my work or I showed my work to them. And I also, when I walked in, I knew exactly what months I could do it and when I'd be available.
So you were prepared.
So, yeah, again, you know those things when you go in to try to sell yourself and your art.
Did you also have it in your mind of what pieces you would want to show there? Like, if they say yes, these are what I'd want to bring?
Sometimes, but sometimes I make a whole new body of work and I just work insanely.
That's awesome. Let's see. So we have a couple of questions. Which gallery in South Carolina?
Loblolly Arts.
How do you say that?
I know. I think it's a pine tree or some sort of tree there.
Loblolly.
Loblolly.
Loblolly? Okay. Let's see. I mean, I guess that's good because it stays in your mind, you know?
The owner used to be the director of the Women's Museum in DeLand.
Okay, awesome. Let's
Hmm.
see. Tracy says, great to know about the vetting. Been contacted, but wasn't sure how to check them out. Can you share those communities that have helped with supporting other emerging artists, groups, etc.? So, when you're talking about different groups that help you, um, are there certain ones? Like, are they Facebook groups that you're talking to, or?
Yes, Facebook groups. Uh, like I said before, early on, I met a lot of artists on Twitter, did the Twitter art exhibit and made a lot of contacts all over the world with other artists. And I am in several different Facebook groups, but I also have my own. And a lot of the people that are in my group are handpicked by me, because some of them are in there because other people ask for them to be in there, but because I know that they're smart, working artists who are generous and have goals like I do to be successful and to further their art and art business.
Wow. And what is the name of your group for those who don't know?
It's a secret group. It's Artist Kiss.
Secret group. I like it. That's awesome. No, I love your group. I love the different posts that you put up.
A long time ago, I used to, if you remember, I used to actually mentor artists where I worked one-on-one, and I because of the move and everything, I stopped doing that. But I started doing a little bit more of that here in Texas, and most recently, I've been speaking to some art groups and things like that. But in the Artist Kiss group, it's not about me trying to sell to them to mentor or to do anything like that. It's more of all of us helping each other.
Okay, that's awesome. And I put in the description for the video that I would ask you about how you use Facebook and Instagram and stuff to market your art. Like, how would you say you go about using those to market your art? Are you posting a photo of it and a description, or are you showing yourself in the studio? Like, how do you use social media as a marketing tool? I know it's kind of a broad question, but
No,
do you have like a method to your madness, or is it just kind of randomly posting here?
you always have to post. You have to post every day. And in my opinion, because you have to post every day, you have to create art every day, or have art created to where you have, like, let's say I create 10 pieces in one day that I'm working on. So I'm going to take pictures of all of those. Maybe I'm not working on all of those as I post them. Mm-hmm. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So like if I have to travel, I will be creating art here. I'll take a whole bunch of pictures in progress and different things and set myself up before I travel.
Okay.
So
you already have photos that even though you're not in the studio that day, you can later post.
Yes.
So you're planning ahead.
But it also kind of feeds the creativity. You have to post.
Yep.
So you need to create. And so it works out really great.
That's true.
You need to, so you've got to do something. And so your mind just starts going, or at least mine does. 4:30 in the morning, I'm up today, and I'm like, okay, I got to do this and this and this, and get excited about everything that I'm working on and coming up with ideas. I'm, entering this contest and this thing and that thing, and
but kind of like accountability, like having your audience that you have accountability to.
You're exactly right. And that's one of the reasons, they look for you. They want to see your art. It changes their day. It brightens their day. It makes a difference in how they're feeling. And, people it's not always just about the sale. It's about making a difference in people's lives.
That's true. Yeah. I love that. Did you have any other, ideas or points that you wanted to cover in this? I'm just going to double check and see if I had any questions I forgot to ask.
Well, I will tell you that just last week I was rejected twice. I'm only bringing this up not because I want put my heart on my sleeve or anything, get pity.
Okay.
But I'm bringing it up because some people say, oh, you're so lucky and this happened and that happened. Well, I'm sharing that, I was rejected from the same show I was rejected from last year, again this year. Oh. And I was rejected from a gallery. And I just want to share that with you to let you know it happens to me too.
Yeah. So even if you're successful selling all over the world, you can still experience
it. It happens. Yeah.
So how did you handle that?
I got really sad for a day. Shared it with my group. Uh-huh. You can, and then I got like super deeply sad. And then I was just like, paint. And so I started painting and I felt better.
That's good.
The answer to everything is make art.
Yeah. So you just gotta work through it anyways. Like rejection's gonna happen, but doesn't mean you stop.
Exactly. You just keep going and next.
Yeah. I mean, all of our art is not gonna be for everyone. But for the people who love it, they're really gonna love it.
Mm-hmm.
So, we can't, if you try to be something that everyone's gonna like, you're probably gonna really not hit any of it. You know what I mean? Like, you're just doing like the scatter shot instead of like really focusing in and really making something that, just only certain people are really gonna love. So it's better almost to like niche down instead of trying to do everything for everyone.
That's true.
I love your stuff. I think it's beautiful.
Well, thank you, and I adore your work too, and you.
Yeah, I'm still finding my way as an artist. I think that's probably something we all could say. Like
I still am too. I'm not where I aspire to be yet. In where my work is seen and in the amount of it that's collected, I still have so much to do.
Yeah. That's the great thing is we're always growing and we're always evolving. And no matter how successful or where we are now, we can always work towards something better. I think we may be having a little bit of internet connections. I hope that this is going through. I see it on my phone, it's going, but I'm getting a few comments about it freezing. So, technology. So let's see. I think we covered all my questions. Does anybody else have any last questions for Robin?
And I don't mind if anyone reaches out to me on my Facebook pages, Robin Pedrero or Robin Maria Pedrero Art.
Okay, awesome.
Or in your group.
I have one last question I didn't ask you about. Are you using your stuff in a commercial art sort of sense? Like, are you trying to sell your art in a commercial way, other than like?
I'm licensed and published.
Okay. Awesome.
I have an actual publisher. In fact, I just shipped art to my publisher yesterday. So I know some people in those little memes or whatever make fun of people when they buy their art at Kirkland's or something like that. Well, artists are making those pieces. And so I have my artwork at Kirkland's and different places like that through my publisher. And if any of you aren't licensed and published and are desiring to be licensed and published, I'll share a couple things. Yeah. They found me on Etsy. Okay. What a surprise. Okay. And the other thing is, don't use your real full name so that your own brand doesn't get watered down. Use a portion of your name or, something slightly different so that your own name comes up first in Google searches and not your that are at these big stores.
Okay. Now, I see at the big stores a lot of times there'll be art, but it doesn't have someone's name on it. Is that, what's the situation with that? Like,
you get paid for it. You're making these pieces and you get paid for them.
Okay. And they don't allow you to sign them. Is that right?
You can sign them. Sometimes the artist chooses not to so that it's not watering down their brand or it's completely different from the type of art that they make. It's there's so many different scenarios depending on who the artist is. It's a personal decision.
Okay. Because I want to look into it. I'm curious, and I have heard it's a good way, kind of a bread and butter situation. I know that some people do look down on it, but I mean, art is art, and if you can make it where it's affordable for the masses, like, that's great. And if you can get paid to be making art, that's great. But I also understand, like, you don't want to water down your brand, like you're saying, because you also.
So maybe you can produce art, okay? So you can produce art. You can paint an apple, or let's say you can paint, snowmen, all right? So you can paint snowmen that don't necessarily look like snowmen, even though they're done by your hand. But would you typically even paint snowmen? So maybe you wouldn't, so they don't even look like you, because it's not a subject you would even take on.
Yeah.
So you create a body of work that's utilized on plates and napkins and everything else.
Right. Yeah, I had someone recently tell me, it's good to have almost like your fine art collection over here, your commercial art over here, and then it was one other I can't remember, but like, you don't have to do everything all in one category only. Like, you don't have to limit yourself, and it doesn't necessarily have to take you down off a pedestal of trying to be the fine artist.
Yeah, you sold out.
Right,
wow.
And we're also worried about selling out. I think,
Getting paid.
But
getting paid.
But I do want to sell out. I want to make money. Sorry, my cat came by. Selling out, if you think about it, sounds pretty good. Sell out of all your stuff. But
yes.
Yeah, it's a way to make money doing art, which is much better than going and, like being a server at a restaurant or something.
It depends on how you want to spend your time, Really, that's what it amounts to. What you want to do with your time.
So how do you get into that? What do you, if you were just starting out, how do you find?
I got rejected many times. I applied to places specifically to get into licensing, and got rejected, and got horrible, horrible comments, and
wow.
it was not good, not good at all.
Okay.
And then, like I said, on Etsy, I get a message from somebody. Oh, we'd love to see your work. Can you bring us 10 pieces? Blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, here we go. So
yeah, we kind of have to have a thick skin. We might get rejected. And then someone else is like, yes, this is it. This is great.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
And it is a little tough because they can be tough on the pieces that you submit. They just let it all out.
My cat is crazy. Come here.
Hey, kitty.
This is Zoe. She was a kid, now she's like a teenager. All right. Well, so I hear Ben in the other room starting his broadcast, so I better get off of here.
All right.
It has been a pleasure talking with you today. I think you probably just have more knowledge than I could even ask for.
Oh, you're too kind. Thank you.
Like, really, you have so much experience, so much knowledge in so many different areas. Like, everyone should just really, if you can get into your group, be in your group, because you really just have a lot of knowledge to share about all this.
Oh, thank you. Well, I was having a lot of fun today. This has been great.
Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone, for watching. And if you guys have any further questions, put them in the comments.
I'll pop on Facebook and the comments and saying thank yous, because I couldn't handle doing the phone and talking to you at the same time.
It's a little hard. All right. Well, so this was Let's Get Coffee with Robin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, here's her coffee. Is that your art on that mug, or?
No, I have super cool collectors. They send me awesome gifts.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah, it's cool.
Well, thank you so much, and you have a great day, everyone. Thank you for watching, and I think the cat wants to say goodbye as well.
Bye.
All right. We'll see you guys later. Bye.
Okay.